Hello everyone. Today we are here to discuss one of the most anticipated films of this year, Malayankunju, that is releasing coming Friday, starring our favorite actor Fahadh Faasil. This is also the return of A.R Rahman to Malayalam cinema after 30 long years. This is very exciting. And today we are joined by Mahesh Narayanan, whose directorial ventures like Take Off, See You Soon, Malik, we all have loved and celebrated. And Mahesh is the writer and cinematographer of Malayankunju, a person who keeps on changing his hats at ease. Mahesh sir, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a sheer pleasure.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My first question to you, sir, is that the film's trailer looks so special and so well cut. We understand that the film is based on a real life landslide event that happened in Kerala, but as it appears from the trailer, you have given a humane angle onto it on top of the survival story. Tell us from
Mhm.
where the idea of the film actually originated.
Idea is very simple because Kerala has gone through two massive landslides in the last years, like even during COVID times and even before the COVID era. So I mean COVID, the peak times. So what actually is the trigger of the story is basically like how this set of people living in that territory, like how they are getting shifted to camps and everything is always a thought provoking thing. Then another incident is basically about a child and a dog, which came into an article where a dog was barking for so many so many hours just to rescue the child, but apparently the child didn't survive. So that was an incident. So that actually, see, I take stories out of my surroundings. That is always I do. So of course, what happened is after that, like I thought of, okay, what if this child is alive, and what if something else is there? So the child came first. Nah, so then only the protagonist, or actually for me, the idea came, and then the child came, and then it's all sort of like that. So then it revolves around actually the birth of this child. I always set my films, which I've directed or written. I've set this in a particular time period where like if you look at it, Malik is 14-day story,
Yeah.
because it's 14 days the judiciary remand period in Indian judicial system. And if you take off, it's 8 months of her pregnancy, where 8 months pregnancy is a difficult task for a woman to hide uh, to her son. So I mean, from her first marriage. So that is one thing. So here also again, like if you look at it closely, if you observe it closely, it's from the birth of this child to the 28-day naming ceremony of this child. So that is the entire
Okay.
timeline structure of the film. And so the cry of this child was very important. And so because the high frequency levels of the colic or the cry, baby's cry, is basically a gift from nature, uh, just to seek attention. Because if you look at a child, like a child is helpless unless and until, like, the vocal cords are very high. And we used to like wonder, like, I know a lot of people who've got newborn babies. They used to record this sound for a long time, like, just to cherish the first cry. So I used to do a some kind of work in that also, like, so with this sound, how can we create a story? So that is one side. So that's how the story originated, like. And we did, and especially for me, always don't want to keep a film in a non-commercial space, because like I always believe in the midstream, where a larger crowd has to see the film. It's not about, like, making an indie film and then going into a different zone and territory, and then exploring that kind of. But it's always where the people who can really relate to the film can actually watch the film. So that's why, if you look at it, there are commercial ingredients in the film, and there is scale, there is uh, effort and everything which we added, so that that cinematic drama can be experienced.
You explain so nicely that there's
Mm.
this gift of nature that will be there, and then there is the wrath of nature also,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
coming
yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also tell us, Mahesh, I mean, film seems to be so special that
Mm,
A.R Rahman is coming back to Malayalam cinema after 30 years. Mr. Fazil
mm.
is producing the films after a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
gap. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
what happened that Rahman sir got associated with the film? So, what was it about getting him on board?
Primary thing is, actually, this is the only film which we approached uh, a composer at a later stage.
Okay.
Like, so normally in cinema, what it happens is that a composer will be attached to a film, even while its announcement or the production starts,
Right.
even when it starts. But here it was not like that, because initially it was not written like that. See, initially I was in the writing stage. I've never seen music there. Even Saji, the director, has never seen music there, or Fahad, the actor, or the producer, like Fasil sir. Also, we didn't tell him that, like, this is kind of going to be a musical thing. But uh, as the work was going on, and because there were a lot of silence in the silence, in the sense there were no dialogues. I'm not talking about silence, because there is, of course, there is this rumble, the water, the cry, and everything is there, but the dialogues are very minimal in the second half. So what like once this edit was done, and also while we were shooting, we realized that, okay, there's a big huge amount of challenge for a composer's work to be added in this film. And so we, after a point, we understood that it's not easy for a composer to create this magic of uh, like that in sound space. If you look at it, he has to be cautious about the baby's cry and also his music. So it is a tough task. So what it so it was just an idea, random, like, thought that, like, why can't we show this film? Because I didn't have any kind of hope that, okay, Rahman sir will accept this film, because we are showing this film as an as a final edit, and then showing it to him, and then asking him to review the film, and then if you're interested to. So Fahad was pretty confident, and Fahad was actually pushing me, telling me that, okay, let's go and let's show the film to him. And then we went there, and like, he was in Dubai, he was doing this Firdaus orchestra, where he was into different zones. Like, he was doing multiple films, and that after, like, we all know that his schedule is very busy, and he's doing some 16 to 18 films at a time, and also performing, and everything is happening. So then, but I don't know what happened, but the moment we showed him the film, like, he got hooked into the story, and because it is not his regular cinema what he gets normally these days. So he said, okay, this is something which is new for me, and like, what kind of music you want. So we went there because for the score, like, for the beauty of his score. It's not about songs and all. So we were discussing about Kannathil Muttamatal, and like, most of my favorite Manisha's films. So where he has done this emotional journey there. So then he was suggesting that, okay, this and all I've done. Like, it's a long time back. So now let me try something new, and it's a challenge for. So here in Malayankunju, what you can actually observe from a composer's perspective is that he has tried, like, he has given score for the ethnic Malayalam culture, and also the true international spectrum where Rahman sir is coming right now. Like, he's headed now right now. So that's the bandwidth of that composer. So we can't imagine, like, how he has performed it into the entire film. So that is a kind of sensibility what a performer, like an artist like him, can deliver to this film. So that was an additional angle. So once this score and everything was finalized, because it takes time, like, it's not easy that. So he was asking us, like, when is your release date? So we said, frankly that like, sir, whenever you are ready with the film, we are ready to release. That's the only thing which we can tell. Okay, okay, that's cool. That because then the producers never give him that kind of freedom. So then he said, okay, that's fine. So now, like when the score was done completely, and when we were listening in a 11.1 or a 7.1 theater, like with all the sound stage, with all the spectrum of sounds coming from every speakers, then we realized that okay, this has to be experienced in theaters. This is not like it's not a film for small like digital window, because
Yeah.
because primary consumption will be on phone, and other things will be on stereo and everything. So this has to be experienced in a. So this is, I like, actually, if you ask me directly, like Malik is a film which is actually the film with all the spaces where for me and Fahad is there, but still we had to sacrifice that film for digital, just because it was COVID times and we had no other options. But now, and I still get receive comments from strangers saying that okay, you did a biggest mistake of your life, that you sacrificed this film to the digital. But when can we watch this film in theaters? But this film, after witnessing this Rahman's magic, and then we felt that okay, now this film onwards, like nobody should come and then ask us, saying that okay, you did the same mistake again, brother. So that should not happen. So then, and again, another thing is that, like there is a space called Dolby Atmos. If you look at it, the sound space. So this Atmos is something where where uh, like a sound is happening above your head, like that's the kind of speaker alignment which is set for 11.1. So there are only certain films where you can fulfill this treatment, because just for the sake of a speaker you can't put a sound over there. It's difficult. So something on the top, like sounds, if you look at the spectrum, like you have to assign something towards. So here we had that angle, and so that's why we were like for the sound designers and the engineers and everyone, this was a challenge for them. So and Rahman sir was absolutely enjoying this process. So we finally, I should say that we went there just for a score, but we ended up with 4 songs. So this is how it happens with working with Rahman sir. Yeah.
Right. But then I think, exactly that's the feeling we are getting from the trailer as well, that it starts with that Malayali,
Yeah,
family
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of a
yeah,
music.
yeah,
And, later when we see the landslide, and particularly
yeah,
when the name comes, there is this haunting background
yeah, yeah,
score
yeah.
that elevates the expectation to another
Correct.
level, actually.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Mahesh sir, you have, we know that Sajimon has
Mm,
actually assisted you previously in your
mm, mm,
multiple ventures before.
mm,
So
mm,
how was
mm.
it working with him as the director and you being the storyteller and the cinematographer? So how was the chemistry between you two in the process?
Saji is a long time friend, like old friend. Like we our story goes back 18 to 19 years. So
Okay.
it's like that. So like my thing is Saji is not Saji is a veteran associate in the industry, where he's worked with multiple directors. So, when this was not the first idea which we were supposed to do together. So we were discussing on some other things also, and even Fahad was also discussing, because Fahad also was discussing projects for Saji for a long time. And after, because uh, like everything, every filmmaker will have a twist after COVID. Okay, so this is always there. Like because I'm not talking in terms of filmmaker also, but any professional person who works artistically, or any other space, will have a different mindset after COVID. So what happened after COVID is that we understood that okay, the story what we meant to do, or we wanted to do, will never happen any soon. So then why can't we do a story like this? So that's how it happened. And so Saji is always a collaborator for all of our films. Like if you say, for example, like I'll tell you one example where in Malik, if you look at it, Malik started with the airport actually in the first draft. So like it was Saji Saji says, Saji's feedback that, to Saji's idea that, why can't we start the film with a feast? Because, there you'll, then I understood that's a brilliant idea because every time when, when a person goes to a religious ceremony they will give this feast to the, to the neighbors and the family members. So, so this is the kind of observation what we always get from Saji. So he's just a silent killer. He's not. He always stays there as with us and then gives us feedbacks and go and then and for us it's a teamwork. So it's not like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's not that. It's about his vision, how his vision is gaining. And also another thing is that since he's coming from the northern part of Kerala, he has got a lot of ideas about how people react there, how people behave, and how the perspective of people towards this landslide, the announcements from the government, how they take it. So all these things are informations from his his perspective and his direct contact or from the area where he lives and he comes from. So that angle is very surprising in the film. Even the child also, if you look at it, the spectrum of the voice of the child is actually recreated with an original kid. I said about 28 days. So Saji was very patient enough to record this voice of the child for the because the first day voice is not the sound is not similar to the second day. See, if you look at physically, a child's growth is very evident because the face changes in 2 days, 3 days. The face gets changed. There is a change in the face because that's why when people say that, when a child is born, they'll say, okay, this looks like the mother. Then another 2 days, after 2 days, he'll say that, oh no, it looks like the father. So this is
the complexion also keeps on changing.
Yeah. So like that, the voice also gets changed. So Saji was so meticulous in that. So Saji used to record all these sounds for the 28 days, how the child would know. Then Saji used to say, no, this is the 3rd day, this is the 5th day, this is the 7th day. So that's a great thing. So to have a collaborator like that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And also tell us about the camera work. When we were watching the trailer first, we were so excited, the way the landslide and the whole place has been created. And then we watched this glimpse of the making video that has come yesterday. Oh my God. I mean, with goats and hens and the way things are being created and you were doing the camera work. So please take us through that. It seems to be fascinating the way things have been created, right?
See, primarily thing is that we don't have any kind of an examples reference which is set here so that we can build a set like that. So it's all trial and error. We have to decide how to approach and all. So what actually started is with with the idea, and then once the setting and everything is done, then the execution part starts. So there, the production designer Jyotish is a person who has got this kind of strength where his artwork will never look like set. He's very real to the core that people believe that okay, we've shot in the real location. So and primarily speaking, it's very difficult to shoot in real spaces like this kind of, because imagine the texture of a land varies from morning to night. So how can we keep the continuity of a land, or how can we keep that this is the same area? And also so the primary challenge was to create that entire set 40 feet underneath the ground. So 40 feet has also got different variations. The first base level will have a different texture. The second height will be second void, or the height, people can survive in voids only. Otherwise, if he's not stuck in a void, then he will definitely die. So we first we had a constant interaction between people who has come up with all, who has survived all these incidents and then came back to life with injuries. So then we understood their path, their process, how they used to climb and everything. So major challenge is that Then see, imagine like nature. Like when you make a set, we make rocks like in different like it can be foam board, it can be plaster of Paris, or it can be other material. But when you look at film sets, what will happen is that a stone will be like a stone, and a stone will be made in same dimensions. But if in nature, if you look at it, one stone will not be similar to another stone.
Right.
So like like it's a one rock will not be because it's nature. So the
Yeah.
challenge was that one thing should not resemble the other. So it has in terms of perspective, size, and everything, it has to be different from others. So that was the biggest challenge. So anything can be seen there, anything can be seen underneath. So how to recreate that? That was the biggest challenge. And then actually, like I think it is all Fahad's uh, drive, because Fahad was always constantly pushing us, like let's do. Because there was a point when we realized that okay, after there was an accident which happened during the filming of this process, and then it was so depressing for all of us, because it was the first day inside the set. And then we understood that okay, we didn't do much of this for the safety measures. We were
Mm.
not doing much about, like not thinking much about the after effects of certain things. So now we had to be very careful. Fahad couldn't shoot for 6 months because of this that injury. And like so after that, we were so cautious, because uh, there was like more than a lakh liter of water every day to be refilled. And and then if you're inside the set, anything can be there. So every day, with magnets, like we'll have to lift any kind of metal items and iron items, from the set, so that it has to be made secured for an actor to get into the set and then perform. And not only the actor, but also for the crew members also. So, and also another thing is that uh, like we made the entry and exit point such a way that we also will feel that we are going into that space. Like if the entry and exit to the set is made so easy, then we will not feel that scary part will not be seen there. Because
Mm.
and like in that 40 minutes of this episode, it's not that easy for a person to act in such a way that for Fahad, he is neither in a sitting position nor in a standing position.
Exactly.
So that is the most difficult part for him. So the shooting time is we can push to an extent, we can survive like that. So oxygen and the body posture is different and difficult, and after a point we'll get tired. So first initial days were we are shooting only 1 hour, 2 hours a day. Then we pushed it slightly, and then finally when we reached to a point where we could shoot like 4.5 to 5 hours a day, like that. That was a maximum. That was a maximum. Yeah.
And that void being so small, it would be difficult to capture, put the camera and do the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
capturing
yeah,
as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So because we took a larger sensor here. So see, if you look at sensors and camera, like these days we have this digital zone where which is pushing the boundaries. So we took a large format camera, which has a resolution of an 8K resolution, and with a Vista Vision sensor. So where it can be more close to the character, and and with a more wider area without any kind of distortions and all. So that was the plan. And the other problem is to light the scene, because we don't have any kind of source there, because it's night time, and underneath 40 feet, the only source is the torchlight. So there is no other no other practical source which we can establish inside there. So we have to capture this entire act with a single torch. So for that, we did a research, and then this torch, the color index of the torch has to be so strong. So photographically, it has to capture these things. So we did a research on that, and then we actually found a torch which was used for wedding photography in Ukraine. So then we sourced the torch actually. So then, because and with different color temperatures. So some was like three, like in a neutral temperature, like 4, 5, and all. Some was more into close to daylight, and some was more into the warm light of 3000 Kelvin. So it is all we tried a lot, and then we arrived at a point that okay, this is the kind of sensitivity which exposes all these acts, because it has to be visible also to people. That's what I was telling. It should not fall into a place where only a niche set of people understood that what is happening. It has to be played towards the gallery, so it has to be strong. So that's why when this making like now, I always feel that like there should be a unique experience for people to come back to theaters and watch a film, because otherwise people are relaxed back in their houses watching in digital spaces. They are fine with that, and now we have to tell them that okay, there is something which is an experience for you. So come back to theaters and watch this film. So that's why we wanted the behind the scenes to be released before the release of the film. Like otherwise, what normally we'll do is that the opposite.
Yeah.
But here we want the people to go through this experience. So we want to show them that experience. So that's the only reason. So and placing a camera over there, like it's like an actor performing also. Like only an operator and a focus puller is the thing. That's it. That's it. Other than that, nobody can be there in that particular space. And also, Fahad is a person who has to give light for me. It's not about like I can't light the scene, because it's all the light coming from the torch. So we used to do bounce like areas where he has to lit his own face. So light his own face. So that's the biggest challenge for him. And another thing is the direction of the torch, the temperature of the torch, and at times the torch will get heated up. So we'll have to give a break for that, and then and his like and it's not about cinematography also. Like they can't be a makeup man inside, they can't be a costumer inside, nothing. And so once we're going into the set, then it's like 5 hours inside that stuck. So then shoot it and then come out like that. We can't even have a tea break or a snack break or anything. Nothing. It was difficult.
That is extremely challenging, actually.
Yeah.
And like you and Fahad have been collaborators for a long time now, and you worked with him on multiple different projects. So
Yeah.
tell us something about like how is it working with him? How he pushes himself so much to do something new every time, and as you said, he pushed you guys also at that point in time in this particular film. So how is the experience overall?
See, Father is a close friend. So primarily he's a friend. Then comes the actor in him. So every time when an idea comes to us, like we used to jam. We used to like this film particularly is not about us. It's about Sajimon's first film. So we would definitely want Saji to direct a film, and so it was mutual actually. Like Father also wanted Saji to direct, and I also want Saji to direct. So we used to constantly push him from both the sides, so that so this is next is your film. So you have to be to be prepared about that. So like that's how Malayankunju happened. Like our collaboration is very simple. Like the way what he understands well with me, and how I understand him well, is that process. That's it. Like it's very easy for me to communicate to him, and for him also it's very. I think it's very easy for him to understand all my stories. So it's mutual, and other than that, it's truly based on friendship. So, and here we have a different reason. Here it's ultimately it's Saji's film. So Saji is because there are certain people who definitely require a big amount of push, because there are some people are very introvert. Like they won't come out of their zone and then start doing things. So here we are telling him that boss, this is the time now. You have to do it. And so we want him to like that. That's how it happened. Yeah.
Fahad kind of gets into the skin of each character so seamlessly. I mean, even in the trailer, the first scene that he's bathing and suddenly there's a light and he will shrink away. I mean, he's amazing, right? So we had a discussion with Parvati before, and we were talking about Takeoff, where Fahad plays this cameo.
Yeah,
So she was saying that in minutes while talking to Fahad, they went to the point of how the signatures of each character would look like. So I'm just trying to understand, I mean, how does he approach these characters, which makes them so believable? So what is his thought process to getting into these characters? If you could share something.
That's his, because he believes in reading. Like he I don't think he prepares a lot. Like for a character and all, but he gets into a project much before, like because from the writing stage itself, he participates in that. Like like I am a person who always approaches an actor only with a finished draft. So like it's just always Fahad. With Fahad, it's different. Fahad, it's idea first. So idea, if that idea stays with us for a long time, then we figure out that okay, this idea is living with us. Like why can't we make it into a film? Like when are we making it? So that comes again. So then when the process starts, he's involved. He's involved into that. So he knows it. Like from where this character is coming from, like how he behaves and everything. He knows it very well. And then like he's not a person who comes like first day morning and then okay, let's start shooting. He's not like that. He goes into the location, like set and everything, analyzes that, like where this is thing, that thing, and so he gets all this briefing. It's all about like that's, I think that preparation starts there, like how he can behave there, like and also he tells them that can we keep the property here so that I can pick it from here and then go there. So then we have started understanding, okay, like so the choreography itself, like when you are like constructing a scene, like and like that preparation itself starts before the setting up of the scene. Everything starts. So it's not the day of the shoot. It's about it's much before. Yeah. If you look at Malik, actually, Fahad was very had lots of appearances because that's the first film where he was doing an old age getup. He's never tried an age which is like which is older to him. He's tried younger roles, but not elderly roles. So he had like he was very
so good.
So he wanted to be convinced by himself, like so he was literally trying and keeping this that wig and everything, and even the elderly look for a long time, and so that so he has to be confident enough that okay, I can I'm in this zone now, so that so the first day shoot is very comfortable for him, like that's always there. Yeah.
In Malik, there is this scene in the jail where this guy comes to kill him.
Yeah.
And he realizes, he knows this will happen. And that expression in his face, I mean, those are goosebump moments he keeps on giving. Oh, wow, what a scene that was. But you also tell us about, one of the key highlights or, strongest point of Malayalam cinema that we feel is this amazing ensemble cast we keep on having in these films. Here too, you have Indrans, you have Zafir Idduki, you have Rajisha, all of them. So, if you can speak in brief about these characters and what they are bringing into the story.
See, Jafar is Fahad's father. Like Anikutin is the character which is played by Fahad, and Rajisha is his sister. And so, see, for me, in a script, everybody has got something to do. It's not about like in a character coming and going. And I never do that. So here, like this is the only film I think to an extent after Takeoff where I've traveled a lot with a singular character. Like Takeoff, the film travels with Samira, but after a point it shifts its narrative to that rescue part and everything.
Right.
But here it's not like that. It's purely with Anikutin, purely with Anil. So his like his perspective of the land, his perspective of it, his family, his memories about his father and everything. Like, so all these things uh, uh, comes uh, with great energy into the film, where it's all about his mindset. So even when Rahman sir was composing, he was also thinking, like, he was working on his space, like, what will be his brain. Like, even his one of his theme was marked as Ani's brain. So so everybody understood that. Like, so all of the characters are definitely part of the film, because like, if you when you come out of the film, you can definitely say that if one character is not there, the film will be incomplete, like that. Like, uh, and another thing is that it's not about adding too many characters. See, Malik had that structure of too many people, because it deals with an entire geography. Like, this is more like a personal travel, and also his internal conflict and his conflict within the family and all. So that is very crucial for a filmmaker, well, like, for a writer as me, and a filmmaker as Saji, and actor for as like Fahad, to like, come up with with certain small nuances, which is very relatable to people. Like, it has to be relatable. Like, like, at times we'll feel that, okay, this character we have seen, we know this guy, we have seen him in, like, if you come to Kerala, like, a lot of people start relating. Okay, I know this guy. He lives close to my house. I know this person. So that is the kind of relatability. Yeah.
That's the beauty of Malayalam
Yeah.
cinema, actually. It's rootedness and relatability.
Right. Like even we can relate. Like we can to relate to the certain things. There is something
Because it's
culturally.
universal. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Yes,
universal, because
exactly.
emotions are all. Yeah.
True. Sir, since we have you here to talk about two more exciting projects that we are looking forward to, there is Ariyuppu that is screening at Locarno in another few
Yeah,
days,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
Indian film screening at Locarno after 17 years.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we have Phantom Hospital, your new project, perhaps in Hindi, if we are not wrong. So
Yeah.
tell us
So
about these two projects a little bit, sir.
so Areep in Malayalam, and English title is Declaration. So this is again a film which is close to me, because I've tried something new with this film, where like, as I said earlier, it's all about the midstream, which I'm focusing. So I'm trying the midstream little ahead, like, okay, like, so that, little pushing the boundary, where where I can tell a story with a, again, it's a story about a migrant couple. If you can watch the trailer in the Locarno website, because it's officially not released, but it's a festival trailer which is there for Locarno. So like, one film I wanted to try with a festival route first, and then come back to India. So I was fortunate that Locarno picked the film, and so now they are showing it in the main competition section. So I'm excited, like, how this film performs there, and how the feedback. And it's a very like, again, it's a relatable film, because I deal with I have a constant uh, uh, like, my appetite is always towards Malayali culture, but still there is like, most of my stories will have this migrant thing, like, because I know, like, Malayali Keralite population, like, Malayali population is a huge population who are always trying to migrate to different places, and like, it's not only outside India, it's also within India. So it's about a migrant couple, again, working in a gloves factory in Delhi, with an ambition of going abroad, but how their family, their internal struggles happen, because of the COVID times, and certain COVID times. So it's a challenging project again for me. So yeah, so like, I never expected a film like that to be in main competition in Locarno. So I know that this will have. I was assuming that, okay, this film will have a festival journey. So that's why we tried that. But after we dropped out from Cannes, then we got a mail from the selection committee itself, that, because European festivals will have the same selection committee for most of these film festivals, like, Cannes, Locarno, Venice, and everything. So they were actually saying that, okay, this was in the final round, but we're sure that, like, Locarno or Venice will pick it up. But apparently Locarno picked it up, and so I'm happy, fortunate that film is doing that.
And so a little bit
And
about Phantom Oscar.
Phantom is still in development. It's a research from Josie Joseph, produced by Preeti Sahani, who is the producer of Rasi and Talwar and all. Like we were in talks for a long time. Like even after takeoff, we were in talks for making a film. So these are the producers who want me to come to Bombay and make a film there. So I have to be like, primarily it's they like I tell them that, like, I will come only with a film which personally which I like, and I have to be part of the writing also. So it's not about, like, and there has been a lot of things where, calls to remake Malik, remake Takeoff, and remake other films. But personally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of my own films to be remade, because once I'm done with the film, I'm done, and I will find only mistakes in the film. So I have been telling them that, please don't consider me to do the remakes. But so here so I want to do an original thing in Hindi. So it's not about Hindi. It's not about a different language. Okay, so. And this film is a research from Joshi, and I can't reveal anything about that right now because it's still in development stage. So it's in the pipeline.
That's so exciting. And our final question, sir, before we let you go, is that, for the last 1 decade, I would say, there has been a gradual rise of regional industries, Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada. And we kind of see two patterns here. There is this, blockbuster kind of thing from Telugu, Kannada, which is doing, across the country, even beyond that, actually.
Yeah.
And Malayalam cinema, like all and sundry would agree that they are producing the best content. Like the quality, if you go by any critics, would be saying this is the industry to look forward to. But at the box office side, beyond Kerala, they're still, not there maybe with the way Telugu is doing. So do you think that's about the marketing, or that's something else that is coming into the picture here?
See, an industry needs all kind of films, primarily speaking. An industry needs all kind of films because, then only an industry will survive. It's not about, like, an industry should produce only films like KGF or RRR. Like, I'm a huge fan of all these kind of films because that larger than life films, because, that needs to be there to pump in people to theaters. So there is an era, there is a time where, where midstream used to be very popular in Malayalam. Midstream is still popular, but theatrically midstream was popular pre-COVID. So post-COVID, this midstream started slowly diminishing in theaters because, people start realizing that, okay, why should we watch these midstream films? Because in another 2 weeks, it's again coming back to OTT, so digital space. So why should we watch these kind of films in theater? So for theater, okay, first thing is recession. India is going through a huge stage of recession right now, where after COVID, people are trying to save money and, get back on track. It's a difficult task, and ticket prices are very huge. Okay, so for them to invest in a film and, and time in terms of money and also time, there needs to be a point. There needs to be something else inviting for them, like some kind of an invitation card for them. So here, I always believe that Malayalam cinema was strong with this midstream. That was like, that was the new age cinema which we are trying. Like it's about how Dilesh Potan used to work, and it's about how Lijo used to work, how Ashik Abu used to work. So it's all based on this midstream. So that's how we all, Rajiv Ravi, everybody, a lot of filmmakers. So so this is as an example. This is a film set as an example. Like, you're going to watch a midstream cinema where it's not Bahubali, or it's not RRR, or it's not about KGF and all. But it has also got scale. Yeah, in the sense, like, scale is not about showing 1,000 people alone. There is scale inside, underneath the ground also. Like, there is massive experience which you can experience only in theaters. Like, so that is what we are trying to push. So I always believe that every set of cinema has to exist. Like, if a country is only producing big scale, massive scale in the sense, like, larger than films only, then it's a problem of their industry. Like, the sensibility of people also will get, okay, Indian cinema means this kind of films, because they can watch this midstream anytime, because, it's not that difficult that, European cinema or Western cinema is easily available. So content, it's in a, like, content is like, getting poured into people where, they're they're used to any kind of content right now, like, with their sensibilities. So it's filmmakers' responsibility to bring back these people and say that, okay, theatrically you will have to experience that. So I still believe that there has to be a unique experience, a promise to people, like, for them to come back to theaters and witness that in theaters.
So true, so true. And we are sure Malayankunju is going to be that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. And
Thank you, Shubhadeep. Thank you, Arup. Thank you,
thank you.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.